So let's get straight into some love affairs. So, dear sisters, I'm reaching out because I'm devastated and heartbroken. After 7 years of marriage with a beautiful daughter, I recently discovered my husband has been living a double life with another family in a different country. He's been hiding this from me, and I'm crushed by the betrayal. I noticed signs of his behavior changing, disappearing for days, being secretive, but I never imagined he was supporting another woman and children. I feel foolish and betrayed, questioning everything about our life together. Part of me wants to salvage the marriage, but I also feel like I deserve more than living a life. I am lost, heartbroken, and unsure of what to do next. Should I try to heal and rebuild with him, or is it time to walk away? I would greatly appreciate any advice you can offer during this painful time. With a broken heart, A. I don't want to call her full name, but her name is just A.
She has one daughter with her husband?
Yes, a beautiful one of that.
Isn't it interesting how she's going on about what she should do, whether she should build her life back with him, What's the guy saying? Does the guy want a life with her? Exactly. Like, what is the guy saying? Like, does he even care? Is he sorry? What does he want? It's like, you're here, I feel your pain, I can understand, you know. I would not have, I mean, I'm so sorry about what you're going through, but you know, it's like you want to give it a try. You want to see how you can make it work. Should you go? Should you not go? But you can only know, this is what I think, I feel like you can only know depending on what response the guy gives you. How did you find out to start with? Did you find out on your own because he was, you know, did you find out on Facebook? Did you find out because you stumbled on his phone? Did you find out, has he confessed to you?
Or maybe the other woman even called.
Exactly. But you see, you can't force somebody to love you. Do you get what I mean? Maybe he was tired. Maybe he actually loves living a double life. Maybe you having a conversation with him will not make it any more exciting, because he probably is having a thrill about, you know,
I have two families.
I have two families. This one doesn't know about the other one doesn't know about the other.
But or maybe the other one knows about the other.
We don't know.
Well, usually that's what happens. Usually the
second person knows about the first one, but okay.
Oh yeah.
You know, so it's all messed up to some extent. And the only reason why I say that is because you can only be able to make an informed decision depending on the position in which your husband is. Yeah. Does your husband want you, your children, the marriage with you, the life with you, or your husband is actually happy with this other life that he has? Is he repentant? Are you okay? Are you open to a polygamous relationship? Like a lot of serious conversations have to be had. You sound like the only person in the
trying
relationship.
To make it work.
Trying to make it work. That's what I think.
I have a different opinion. And my opinion is that I don't think he doesn't want a life with the first woman, because he says he was living a secret family, a secret life.
So that means he's doing everything he's supposed to do right.
Right, like, so he's trying to, in his best to juggle it between the two families. And there are men who do that. I don't know whether they get excited over the thrill of knowing that they're able to have two families and the two of them don't know each other. It's like how a guy would have two babes and be playing them.
Yeah, I think that's it.
So it's the same thing that they have carried.
I think that's it, but they've graduated.
They've graduated from two babes to like two families. And sometimes it's a self-actualization stage where they feel they have enough money, they can afford to have two families. And the thing is that because of what they promised the first one, the kind of life they promised, relationship, some of the promises made, they can't come into the dialogue table and dialogue with the first wife about the challenges they are really facing or what they are doing. So they'll rather, because they have enough money, they'll rather afford to do something else for the child. So you have situations where they build a house for the first one, they build a house for the second one, the child is going to one school, and then the other one is also going to another school, but they're all apart. Like he feels like he's
both international schools.
Yeah, he feels he's gotten there. And for me, I don't think that, and I'm sure the woman says that she feels betrayed, which means that whatever she felt she had with the husband, she couldn't think that the husband could have done this. And I like the fact that she's thinking solo. Because sometimes when things like this happen, you need to think solo. Because the man has done what he wants to do.
And he's living in it.
And he's living in it, and he's okay. It's just by some dint of whatever that you found out. Because the fact that she said she feels betrayal, it means that she probably found out, or she just got to know, she just got wind of it. And I'm happy that she's thinking solo, whether to opt out or to stay and what to do. Because then it means that she's trying to think for herself in this mess. But my dear, someone told me that when you are very angry or very hurt, it's usually not the best time to take decisions. And in as much as you feel betrayed, I think that you need to have a conversation with your husband. Sometimes you need a certain level of closure. You may not get the closure, but at least some communication needs to go on to find out at what point he probably felt like needing a different family.
Or was it a mistake that
was
graduated
it a
into a
mistake
family?
that you just couldn't, you just wanted to be honorable and you continued with it? Like, exactly what went wrong? Because those things help you in the healing process. And number two, where are you in terms of your capacity to care for the kids? And psychologically, there's a lot of damage done to you because it's very difficult thinking that you have a husband and one child. You are thinking like that, you're thinking of the future. Then you wake up one morning and realize that, oh, I have a husband, one child, one rival, and probably 3 other children. It's a psychological place no woman wants to find themselves in.
And what about if they even find out that they are the second family?
Exactly. So maybe if you're not lucky and you find out that you are rather the second family.
And there's an original family.
Yes, and that is even worse. So, you know, I don't want to say this, but I know of a family where he actually got married to somebody, and the lady thought she was the first and everything. Not knowing, so what happened was that when they were about to process some documents, the guy had to process a fake certificate to show that they got married way later than they actually got married, because apparently after they got married, before she started doing divorce proceedings with the other wife. So when the woman found out that, why is the date different? The guy was giving some skirmishes, not knowing at the point of marriage, doing wedding, apparently he was legally married to somebody else, also under the ordinance. So it's funny how some of these things pan out, but it's unfortunate it's not the man who is sending it, but I don't think that any woman deserves this.
At all.
I keep saying that, look, listen, there are women out there who subscribe to polygamy because they even grew up in polygamy and it worked for them. So such women, if you propose polygamy to them, they will get it. I'd rather you take your time and find somebody who understands the language so you are free, as opposed to someone who doesn't understand the language and then you force polygamy on them.
Like, you know, they don't even have that upbringing.
Yes, and you force it on them much later in life.
No.
Then that becomes unfair. Then that makes you cruel. That makes you insensitive. So all I want to tell the lady is that, look, listen, things have happened and it's unfortunate that you are in this quagmire. It's not something that anybody would love to be in. But take a moment and calm down and look at the real issues, what you have to do. Make a decision, whether you are staying, whether you are opting out, whatever you are doing. But whatever decision you want to make, the most important thing is that it should be your decision. Then when it's your decision, however you can actualize that decision is a piece of cake, because it's your decision. Don't allow anybody to make that decision for you. Make your decision, and if you want to stay in, modalities that have to, if you want to opt out, what you need to do to opt out, you do it. And then save your mental health, because this kind of situations, I think that, I don't know how men take, it's just like a woman having children for a man when they are not for the man. Exactly. And then the man finding out later in life that they are fathering children that are not theirs, you know. It's not a place that anybody wants to be in. And I really sympathize with you and what you are going through. Make that decision. But all I want to ask you is that make that decision when you're a little calm. It shouldn't be immediate. Calm down, think things through, make the decision, and act on it.
All right, Sisho.
The pointers I would take from Olivia's submission, and points I would take from Rosie's submission, and add stuff to it. First of all, I wish we would all evolve. As humans, we keep evolving to the point where the indoctrination on women or girl children generally would change from where you are groomed from the get-go to be a support system. It's like to be an assistant class prefect to the male child.
Instead of being a class prefect.
Instead of being the class prefect. I feel like the world has evolved far away from the point where it used to be the man is the head and the man is the leader of the gang, and the man, without the man you can't survive. And back in the day, women couldn't even own houses or
bank accounts,
etc. I think life has evolved far away from that, and we women are the only creatures that have not woken up to smell that coffee. Unfortunately, even though we are the ones that it's affecting the most.
No, you mean in Africa?
I'm tempted
even
to say
elsewhere,
the whole world.
Elsewhere, you'd be amazed at what happens.
You'd be amazed.
No, because I'm saying it because we as a society have problems with women who are very outspoken about
exactly.
that.
So outside maybe is the celebrities that you feel but the average Westerner, they have these challenges too.
I feel like we ladies have to wake up to the realization that men are as selfish as the word comes. They will do what pleases them at any given point in time.
Yes.
If you find one that is not doing that, you are lucky. Thank God and be happy in your home. But 90% of them are doing what pleases them. Now, what does that mean to you, the woman in that relationship or in that marriage or whatever partnership you have with whoever?
Step up.
Is to step up your game and to make sure you're not beating at your own game that you are part of. It's the only, and then another thing, as life evolves, things change. People's perspectives and mindsets and thoughts about things change. It is what is happening to the word marriage. But women, we are stuck in a certain bubble, thinking marriage is still what it is.
Yeah.
How we're trained.
Yes. Back in the day, there was nothing like prenup and all that stuff. But at some point, the Westerners realized that, no, this thing is beginning to affect women more than, so they needed to put certain checks and balances in place to make sure women don't also run at a total loss when it comes to the issue of marriage. But we women in ourselves are still sitting down, laid back, waiting that, oh, the man will be the perfect man that I married 10 years ago. And like I always say, I'll preach it anywhere. I'll preach it to my daughters, I'll preach it to my nephews and my nieces, wherever. Is marry a rich man. Yes, marry a rich man. Because at that point in his life where he has already self-actualized, he is making decisions based on his likes and dislikes, based on his wants, not based on, oh, I am at this point in my life, let me find a woman who is also who is that banana seller, who hasn't gotten it.
Is there humility for me when they don't have?
Exactly. Let's even throw this in there. Recently, during this whole ministerial committee appointments, etc., we realize how all these men are bragging about their wives. You see, I always tell people, you meet people at your level of vulnerability, your level of intelligence, your level of exposure to life. Quote me anywhere. But all these women who are marrying those politicians, they didn't meet them when they were selling banana, when they were not in law school, when they haven't upgraded themselves to a certain standard. So women, we have to get to the point where we are selfish enough that we are upgrading ourselves at every point of the game. Because once they go past you, they don't want you anymore. And once you get that realization
they don't want you anymore.
Yes. Once you get to that realization that, okay, Charlie, the game is the game. We are both upgrading. We are both running the race of life.
Yeah, because who you were you can't be who you
the
were
same person 10 years ago. When the
person
person has gone to Harvard and he's met some girls there, some fine girls there.
And you are still there.
Come on. With the same degree that you had 2 years ago or 10 years ago, you've not upgraded, you've not done your master's, you've not done anything. Even side chicks, it should get to a point where when he is upgrading his wife, you two better be busy upgrading yourself. Because when push comes to shove and that wife dies, last time, I think 2 weeks ago, a friend of mine was telling me a story. A friend of mine was telling me a story. He was telling me a story about a man who was dating this side chick for 15 years. And then eventually,
that's his wife.
And his
15 years, that's his second wife.
And his wife,
you can't be side chick for that
eventually
long.
got angry. He couldn't take it anymore because the wife knows about this side chick. He goes everywhere. He goes to funerals, goes to
that's the
family
second
gatherings.
wife.
Yes. And then now the wife finally divorces the man. And then the man goes ahead to marry a different girl altogether and left the side chick. And the side chick was now busy calling friends, the man's friends, and say, I can't believe he did this to me. He's a very well-known man in Ghana, so I can't mention the name. I can't believe he did this to me. I can't believe he did that. But the point is, look, women, get up. If that man is upgrading himself, massa, wherever you get that money, if you are taking it from he himself, if you are lying that your mother is dead, take the money and upgrade yourself. Because once something happens, don't think that he will find someone else. There are so many circumstances that men are finding other women. Be selfish enough in your being to take care of yourself at every point in time. Don't think marriage is the ultimate goal of anybody's life.
It's actually not.
You can be married to someone 15 years. Amazon CEO divorced his wife.
Yeah.
You name them.
McDonald's.
People are divorcing their wives after 30 years, 20 years, 15 years. So your marriage should not be your only aim in life. Keep upgrading yourself to the point where even if he leaves you, he knows that, Charlie, man, he's left something.
Ooh.
And I think that's where we women have to get to, where it should, your entire life
it's not
is
only
not
around
about
your
the man.
marriage.
So that even when he leaves, you know that you are still chill, you are still okay. Because really, what are you going to miss? The sex? You will get it from any other person.
but I think that growing up, I can appreciate.
Yeah, let's be wrapping up.
Yes, I can appreciate what Situ said, whereby I actually saw my mom leaving her teaching job just to come and stay home to ensure that everybody was going to be okay. So I always told myself that I would never be in the position in which my mother was. That I will better myself, I will finish school, I will get a good job, and I will be independent to the extent that when we were going through the dating phase, I will buy myself my own drink. This is me. You can have your own opinion.
Yeah.
You can have your own opinion. You can expect the guy to fork out money. But this is everybody is entitled to the opinion what works for them. But this is where I'm coming from, whereby from get-go, I will indirectly let you know that
I got mine.
But even after we get married, I mean, obviously responsibilities, everybody has to play their part. But touch wood, should you go, I should be able to cater for my kids and we should be okay. And even goes as far as taking care of yourself, what you look good, how you look good, how you exercise, how you keep fit, how you keep fit, how you keep up with the times. Because while you're busy wearing that intoma over here, some girls are slaying and looking good.
And he's leaving you for that.
I will never go back after having kids to how I used to look like, but I will make every effort to ensure that some other guy can look at me and be like,
Thank you.
And on that note, I want to say a very big thank you to you ladies for this conversation. I mean, this is a very important conversation, and I hope we all took points from it. I took a lot of pointers.
The men are living their lives.
I took a lot of pointers, and especially for the fact that we as women need to keep on, upgrading ourselves and realize that, okay, in as much as marriage is great, it's not the only thing that defines us. And it's not the end of life too. So let's take a quick break, and when we come back, I will be sharing my final thoughts. Welcome back. It's still Sisters right here on Channel 1 TV. And if you're watching us, if you're listening to us, it's 97.3 City FM. We've been having a good time. A good time not just because it's Love Month, but a good time because we are going through your letters and learning from it. But it's time for me to share my final thoughts on the two letters that we actually read. With the first letter, girl dating boss or lady dating boss and, having a fling with a colleague. I would actually agree with the sisters that it's dangerous to play that sort of game, even though you're just talking to the two people in the same area. And you talked about dating, but obviously we know what the Ghanaian context of dating can be sometimes. I wouldn't want to judge you, but majority of what we hear is always, has to do with, sexual intercourse. So obviously if it's that situation where you are having sexual intercourse with both people, I agree that you should let go of that job. Because in other countries, I'm going to use Nigeria as an example. I don't know if it happens here, but we've seen a lot of men actually sponsor weddings for, you know, the lady that they used to date, especially if they were the boss or if they were the sugar daddy. And, you know, but we don't know if that is the situation, if this boss that you're dating is that sort of person where you would go and tell him, you know what, boss, I think I found someone that I like and I want to move on with the person. And he would be okay with that. So not knowing that makes it hard to say, okay, go out and tell that boss that, okay, I'm seeing this person now. Do you understand? So I think I'll agree with the ladies that you should end that job or find another job and then walk away from that job, because it will be hard to deal with the two men in the same vicinity. I don't agree. I do not support that. It's going to be very hard, no matter how you try to manage it. It's going to be very hard dealing with those two men in the same vicinity. And even if you stop seeing the boss, one day we will come out. One day the other guy will know that, okay, that this girl was seeing this man for convenience. How would he actually look at you? He's never going to look at you the same way. He's never going to look at you as someone that he has a future with, because he's going to think that this girl sees or goes out with certain men for convenience. So I don't think it's something you can continue. Just try to find a job, exit that place, and then start your life all over again. Or break up with the boss and then see what happens with the other person when you are out of that place. And now, with the second story of, you know, man living double life, you know, 7 years of marriage and not knowing your husband has a whole family somewhere else. Like I said in the beginning, I don't know if you are the one that is probably the second wife, you understand, or the second whatever, or the second family. Maybe you are the one being the second family, or even being as the first family. I know it's very devastating that, you know, you just wake up one day and realize that your husband is moving a certain direction. I would agree with the sisters that it's time for women to realize that marriage is not the end. Marriage is not, you know, the end of your life. You don't have to tie your life around a whole marriage. Sometimes you need to think about yourself. I like the fact that you're asking these questions, but it all depends on what you feel. Do you think you can support it? If you cannot support it, do you have the means to leave? That's very important, because a lot of time we make a lot of decisions without realizing, how am I going to survive at the end of this? So there should be a plan. You don't just walk away. Make sure your plans are intact, everything is going to be working together, and, you know, make the decision that best suits you. I would just say walk away, but the question is, can you support yourself after that? Can you support your child after that? You should have a plan. Do you have a job? Do you have a life after that? Do you have something that can give you income? Do you have something giving you money? It's very important. You should actually have a plan. And I'm very sorry to say, a lot of women are living at the mercy of these men, at the mercy of men like this. So it's important that women learn to have stuff for themselves, have income, have something that can support them and their children without having to depend on somebody solely. There should be some sort of plan. Sicho will say, upgrade yourself. I think it's time for women to upgrade yourself and learn to love yourself, because if you don't know how to love yourself, nobody will love you. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us on this episode, and a very big thank you to our sponsors, Kivo Pepper and Cindy Rice. Thank you for holding us down. My name is Chris Carter, and I'll see you next week on a new episode.